The Watson Weekly podcast is sponsored by Rhythm. In commerce, timing is everything. That's where Rhythm comes in. We help brands and retailers keep every channel connected so when the moment comes, you're ready to act, launching faster, adapting quicker, and growing smarter. See how your business can grow at rhythm.com. That's RITHUM.com. It's January 26, 2026, and this is the Watson Weekly, your essential e-commerce digest. Today on our show, Sam Altman testing ads, Lowe's to license its checkout, AI meets Davos and a Jassy sighting, Claude code is having a viral moment, and finally, the Investor Minute, which contains 3 items this week from the world of venture capital, acquisitions, and IPOs. But first, in our shopping cart full of news, Sam Altman testing ads. People can change their minds. In a move that surprises absolutely no one, Sam Altman has done a 360 from being hostile to advertising and AI to being uniquely unsettling to ChatGPT and announcing this week that it will be starting to test advertising with customers using the free and newly launched Go plans. This highlights the tightrope that Altman and OpenAI are walking as Gemini and Anthropic continue to gain adoption. OpenAI has raised $122 billion in total funding and currently has a valuation of $500 billion. Those are astronomical numbers that force investors to require the revenue to be generated. Altman has done a variety of deals with large incumbents, but while the company is reportedly on a $20 billion run rate for 2026, it is expected to make a $14 billion loss for the 2026 fiscal year. OpenAI's limited distribution compared to Google and Gemini pose a challenge that may prevent it from achieving its sky-high valuation. Is it time to ask whether OpenAI has a moat and sufficient stickiness to retain customers over the long term? I have anecdotally heard from executives I speak with saying they're ending their ChatGPT subscriptions and moving exclusively to Gemini. Currently, OpenAI generates 60% of its revenue from consumer subscriptions using its Plus and Pro plans, and 30% from enterprise customers and API usage. This is revenue being reinvested in training models and data centers. Margins are hard to find as these customers can churn and go to other platforms. Clearly, if OpenAI is going to make money from ads, it needs distribution. Distribution it frankly does not have on the scale of Google. Did I mention that OpenAI wants $1 million in commitment from advertisers to partake in the trial? Also, this is not click-based advertising but cost per impression, which adds more questions for advertisers. And given the speed at which this pivot was made, we are left to question Colonel Altman's leadership. Simply, the freemium model is a staple in Silicon Valley. Either he didn't realize it before, which is foolish, or dismissed it previously, which is just as foolish. Either way, Sam is now playing catch-up to a juggernaut, Google. Our second story, Lowe's to license its checkout. We're clearly in an era where platforms want to license their checkout infrastructure to third parties. The company announced the launch of Meridius, a new business venture that licenses its in-house point-of-sale and checkout software to external retailers. Lowe's is a big-box retailer that offers e-commerce and a marketplace platform to customers. They have invested in offering solutions to contractors, but Meridius is a left-field venture. In some ways, it reminds me of American Eagle and Gap trying to be fulfillment companies, or Amazon's famous Just Walk Out technology, which, as far as my notes say, just didn't work well. While yes, technically it's possible, it doesn't mean it's a great idea in the long term. Name me a brand or retailer that needs a solution for 1,762 stores and 196 million square feet. There are not many of them, as in most cases, these customers use proprietary technology and solutions to minimize card processing costs. Lowe's software is hardware agnostic, meaning retailers can modernize their tech stack without the massive capital expenditure required to replace physical registers and scanners. Why would retailers feel comfortable using a third-party technology vendor from a big box for the most critical and sensitive information? I do believe that most retailers need to have a relentless focus on a few things unless you're called Amazon. Why would Lowe's invest resources and time in the new venture? Are we trying to recoup investment, or what's the story? In the end, there will be some tire kickers and maybe even a flagship account or two, but that doesn't mean this is the initiative of the future. I would definitely encourage Lowe's to continue to double down on its marketplace and retail media solutions and start to think about fulfillment solutions for its sellers and distributors as well. That is the next frontier. It's still in the first innings of these strategies, and I'm not sure this horse has enough legs to run the race properly. Our third story, AI meets Davos and a Jassy sighting. This past week, the World Economic Forum was held in Davos, Switzerland. We had a variety of AI platforms and senior executives meeting with other governments from around the world. This event had a record turnout with over 850 chief executives and chairpersons, and the AI track showcased the who's who in AI. NVIDIA, Microsoft, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Meta, Amazon, Palantir, and Salesforce were represented. Sam Altman sent his chief financial officer and chairperson, while the others all had their CEOs present. The AI supercycle is the defining theme of Davos 2026, marking a shift from the experimental chatbot era to a massive multi-trillion-dollar phase of infrastructure building and enterprise execution. In Davos terminology, the supercycle refers to the convergence of three massive waves: the rollout of $100 billion plus data centers, the integration of AI into physical industries like robotics and energy, and the rise of autonomous agentic AI. Multiple sessions focused on the reality that AI has outgrown the internet's original infrastructure. Andy Jassy spoke with reporters at the event. Here are a few things that caught my attention. Amazon has not announced an investment in OpenAI. You know the line, we don't comment on rumors. Rufus could be Amazon's next billion-dollar business, and whether we want to admit it or not, it will be pushed into conversations when we shop on Amazon. Amazon, while currently dependent on AMD and NVIDIA for AI on AWS, will use its in-house Trainium more widely in the future. Sounds familiar to what they did with logistics, right? Amazon is currently seeking energy from renewable sources, so startups in sectors such as nuclear fusion and hydrogen-based power will be on the company's immediate radar. Jassy does plan to meet with European regulators to ensure customers have good experiences without regulation constraining innovation. As I said at the NRF event we held at the Asylum in NYC, we're going to have lots and lots of agentic news this year. It's not stopping anytime soon. Brands are going to have to be bold and adopt this, and we are past the point of agentic commerce being a fad. And our last story, Claude Code is having a viral moment. I remember a time when I was an engineering lead at ChannelAdvisor when writing code that required a compiler and a QA team to ensure that the work we did didn't break anything or cause downtime. It feels like a lifetime ago. When Claude Code was launched in 2025, it was a coding assistant that has now become an AI agent capable of handling entire workflows autonomously. I vibe coded a few things over the last year, but there are still pain points. Claude Code's target market is developers, but after the late 2025 release of Claude Opus 4.5, non-developer power users have emerged, and the whole product was built in 2 weeks with AI. Developers can now do more as they move from pair programming to orchestration. Which software company does not want more productivity from developers? Think of the iconic Steve Ballmer meme. Developers. You get the idea. Claude Code can now do more than 21 unaided tasks like running tests, fixing bugs, and committing code without the need for human intervention. Senior developers can use up to 8 Claude Code instances and no longer write code. Instead, they act as senior architects and can review pull requests from code written by agents. Code costs a significant amount of money, and it feels like we're in a quantity versus quality debate happening inside businesses without anyone speaking about it. Is this really where we want software development to go? And I may be a purist, but who evaluates the evaluator here? It's that time, friends, for our Investor Minute. We have 3 items on the menu today. First, micro-influencer platform Statusphere secures $18 million in Series A funding. Micro-influencer platform Statusphere announced that it's raised $18 million in Series A funding to be invested in product development. Congrats to friend of the show, Kristen Wiley, the CEO, on her funding. Stripe closes purchase of Metronome. Fintech company Stripe has completed its acquisition of billing company Metronome for an undisclosed amount. The company plans to add Metronome's usage-based billing capabilities to its own platform. Metronome counts OpenAI and Anthropic as customers. And finally, Swap raises $100 million in Series C funding. Cross-border compliance, returns, and inventory platform, Swap, announced this week that it's raised $100 million in Series C funding, which will be used to expand operations and invest in payments. That's all for this week. Till next time, Watsonians. Hi, I'm Rick Watson, CEO and founder of RMW Commerce Consulting and host of the Watson Weekly podcast, your essential e-commerce digest. To hear new episodes of the show every Monday morning, subscribe now at rmwcommerce.com/WatsonWeekly and wherever you get your podcasts.